You're listening to Masters Decoded podcast series. I'm your host and the chief decoder, Anis Merchant. Through this podcast, I bring in guests who are successful in a different walk of life to decode and map out their careers and journeys with the hope that we gain all our learnings. The world around us is changing exponentially, and how the impact of artificial intelligence, technology, and other socio-economic factors have either influenced or enhanced my guests' careers. In today's episode, I invite Meenu Agarwal, a clinical dietitian in private practice in Singapore and advises clients globally on health and nutrition. Meenu holds a master's degree in dietetics and food service management. She also has a certificate in nutrition and childcare, apart from her graduation in science. Her specialty is in advising clients on weight management, medical conditions like diabetes, cancer, acidity, arthritis, Pcod, IBS, nutrition during pregnancy, post and pre, menopause, child nutrition, sports nutrition, and how we can improve player performance by using nutrition as a tool. Meenu has a practice for the last 5 years and served more than 2,000 clients worldwide. Before being a nutritionist, she also taught students mathematics and science in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and in India, and worked as a web designer much before that. She is very passionate about wholesome nutrition and women's health. And without much further ado, let me get on with it. Hi Meenu, welcome to Masters Decoded podcast series. Thanks for taking time out.
Hey, hi Anis. How are you?
I'm good. I hope you are keeping safe and healthy.
Yes, so far so good. Trying to keep myself healthy and others too.
Yes, and talking about healthy, congratulations on the new article which came out in today's newspaper in Kolkata.
Thank you so much.
So, talking about being healthy, and you said you keep healthy. Uh, if you want to share with the audience what that healthy and how does it relate to Meenu, that will be a good starter.
See, to me, being healthy is nothing fancy.
Okay.
Eat little mindful,
Mm-hmm.
do regular exercise. This is something I really speak to everybody and tell them. Say, look, don't start giving excuses to yourself. Figure out those 30 minutes of workout and choose the way you want to do the workout. It should make you feel good. It should not be a burden on you. Choose the way you want. And along with eating good, there are two more factors which always I emphasize always, which is keeping yourself stress free, which ideally means like learn to de-stress yourself, whichever means it works for you. Some people like they find it good when they listen to music, some likes to read book. Choose the way you want, which makes you feel good and happy internally, and try to catch up on your sleep well. So the importance of sound sleep, which I am noticing this last 4 5 months, people are ignoring this. Like they are sleeping on irregular timings, late night, then waking up late, and they said we are sleeping 8 hours, 9 hours, but that's not something which is more important. It's not the 8 or 9 hours. Maintaining that biological clock is very important. So try to sleep early and wake up early. There is a lot of science behind it. Your body's hormonal balance improves when you sleep on time and then you wake up fresh. So the hours can vary from person to person. Some really feels good when they are after, say, maybe after 5 hours or 6 hours of sound sleep. And even I have seen people waking up after 10 hours still sluggish, drowsy. The sleep quality was not good. So these are the four important factor. Eat good. So eat good does not mean like you have to be very, very, that clean plate, eating always
Mm-hmm.
mindful, only salads or soups. No, not that way. Enjoy the food what you are eating, but be mindful that that's healthy, not processed always. So it's a fresh, healthy, colorful plate with natural colors in it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is junk or unhealthy, so that can be a treat, and treats are always occasional. They should not be every now and then. So if you are mindful of these two things, then you are
Okay.
set choosing what you're eating. And then a lot of importance I try to emphasize in my family and to my friends and family, I mean, whoever clients also, that must focus on how you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Like like old time, like my parents always used to say, eat slowly, don't talk while you're eating. So these are small things which we usually forget. We are walking and while we are eating, we are in rush, we are driving while we are eating. So these are things we need to figure out. Like give importance to correct eating. Like give yourself 15 to 20 minutes time, sit with peace, relax, and enjoy your meal. Choose slowly so that you can that nutrients of this food can actually assimilate in your body. So
Hmm.
that's a healthy relationship you develop with food, which I believe is very important. So these are
Right.
the four simple mantras of life.
Great. So, when I look at your career, you were not a nutrition or a dietitian by choice. How did that entire career start for you? And I believe it started about 5, 6 years ago for you. You were not a dietitian before
Yeah,
that.
almost
So,
6 plus years, plus
yeah.
years now.
So how did that start?
It's a quite interesting story. It's a journey, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
not very smooth, but great experiences, roller coaster, sometime,
Mm-hmm.
but overall a journey of learnings.
Okay.
So I've done many things in the last 22, 23 years of my life. So I would say, okay, I'll share here. Like I have moved across 4 countries, in seven
Wow.
cities in last 22 years.
Okay.
I can't ask anything good or better than this. I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
So the journey actually started like I did my graduation in 1996 from Kolkata University, which is the Calcutta University then,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, wanted always to pursue higher education. And while I was studying, I got married.
Okay.
So my marriage happened in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
So it opened a complete new world for me.
Mm-hmm.
And higher studies then took a back seat on that point of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then, though I did a web administration and website designing course, which was very much popular that time, it was a new thing in
Yep.
India and especially in Calcutta those days. So I just enrolled myself. I was very keen on learning something new, not stopping totally everything. So I did that. Then I joined an IT firm and I started working there back in 99, 1920. Sorry,
Mm.
it was 99,
2000.
2000, not 20.
Okay.
Yeah, 2000. And then I left work also. And that is the time that my daughter was born in 2001.
Wow. Okay.
From there, that time we moved from Calcutta to Gurgaon.
Okay.
And as like other ladies of that time, usual, other girls, like, the family became the first priority. And my son was also born in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was like a life and children, like as my home, taking care of my children became my life.
Mm-hmm.
But then that was the time in 2005, we moved to Vietnam with
Wow.
my husband's job. And it was a totally, completely different experience, a diverse experience with total new country, new culture, different people, and two small children along with me. So after certain settling, initial settle down and all, I just started working, and then I was good in maths and biology. So started teaching in an international college in Ho Chi Minh City.
Mm.
So we used to stay there in Vietnam. From there, we moved to USA in 2007.
Wow. Okay.
So then I enrolled in a MSc program, which is a master's degree in science for myself in Rutgers University. That was around end of 2007 or 2008. Yeah, 2008, I just got enrolled. But we have to move back to Vietnam in 2009 again.
Hmm.
Again, this is work only.
Okay.
So, but then I was determined, no, I need to finish and I need to pursue my next level of education. So I got into MSc degree. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the degree course I assigned for food science and clinical dietetics, which finally I completed in 3 years.
Okay.
And and it was not very easy, after leaving formal education for 13 years,
Mm-hmm.
going back to children, it was definitely not easy, but super great support from my husband. who
Hmm.
has been like a rock, and he made it happen. And then
Hmm.
started the journey of my own setup in Singapore. We moved to Singapore then,
Okay.
and started my own nutrition and health consultation company called foodandwellness.com.
Okay.
So
Uh,
currently, yeah. So that's how
wow.
it started.
Okay.
So and
It's it's been an eventful, and while you're moving, you've had changes in personal, professional, as well as in education. And by the way, that message which you mentioned in this conversation, that going back to education after 13 years. Uh, by the way, even I completed my postgraduate, or you can say a master's in MBA in 2013. Uh,
hmm,
I did an MBA in 2013 as well. Completed an MBA in 2013. After working for almost 16, 17 years, I went back to education. Uh,
lovely.
and, and since then, I've decided that every year I'll teach myself one thing, because the importance of learning should never stop. Yeah, it's very interesting when I, just try to stitch it, your story, right? You started in web designing or web programming to, uh, then managing your family, and then, getting into almost health and wellness. And between that, there's a lot happened. And you've also taught students mathematics and science, if I know you a little bit.
Yes.
So it's been almost trying to find your aha moment of choice, I would say, because you've put your hands into something. So getting post graduation was one of the motive, but was being a dietitian or nutritionist the ulterior motive, or was it something else when you wanted to do post graduate at that time?
No, no, not at all. The dietitian thing or being a nutritionist was absolutely not in a picture. In fact, I was far away from that nutrition world. To
Okay.
me, being slim or being thin is kind of being fit was the
Okay.
ultimate goal. I mean, I was always a skinny girl.
Okay.
So there was an incident when we moved to Vietnam from Gurgaon,
Hmm.
which was 2005, initial 2005. So we met a road accident in Gurgaon where I got,
Okay.
yeah, massive accident like a Delhi Gurgaon highway, and on a holiday we just banged. So I got a
Okay.
couple of fractures in my body and a couple of fractures on my hand. And then that whole incident made me realize that being skinny is not the identity or the sort of criteria of being fit.
Hmm.
And you should be actually strong, um,
Okay.
in terms of your nutrient status should be really good. And then
Okay.
that was the time when I got diagnosed with couple of nutrient deficiencies, like severe deficient. So that given me a different approach towards health overall. And that's the kind of, I would say, a new look for my thought process. And I started taking food nutrition uh, in a different manner altogether, and I started reading, learning a lot about that.
Hmm.
And then we were in Vietnam, uh, when children were like little bit stable kind of thing. Then I really wanted to pursue education, and then I was like, what should I study further in?
Hmm.
Do I still want to go along with my earlier education and to further study that? Will that be a right choice or decision? Then again, as I said, my husband was a big support. He suggested, I see you reading a lot of food, nutrition, those articles, papers, books, always now and then, and you have become so conscious about what you're eating, and you also try to emphasize that in our family as well. Why don't you study in that? Just give a thought. And then I really thought, yeah, something this is true. Like, I love learning and reading about this. Why can't I pursue the same as my further learning aspect as a professional qualification? So I think that's the turning point where I decided, okay, let me study this and gain more knowledge officially, so that I understand that I'm doing right,
Hmm.
whether it is for myself or family. Initially
Hmm.
it was for family, and then when I was pursuing MSc for clinical dietetics and this, that was a time when you start studying and then something comes up and you start seeing patients in and out, was in a hospital setting. So, and back home, both parents were diabetic and severely ill. Even my husband's sides, both parents were like, most of the Indian population, either they are suffering with diabetes or heart issues. So both sides, both parents were like suffering with diabetes and heart issues. So that was another thing which started building up. I should focus more on the clinical side of it. What are the mistakes as a general population we keep doing, and
Hmm.
especially like the food habit, the lifestyle. So that was probably a kind of thing which, you know, would be a reason that I inclined myself towards this uh, food, nutrition, and overall healthy lifestyle journey.
Very interesting. Uh, you know, that incident of the accident probably changed your perspective towards food and well-being. That's the way I would look at it. And definitely the urge to go ahead and do further education also almost aligned to what you almost naturally got aligned to, which was nutrition. So let's talk a little bit
Yeah.
more about nutrition. And definitely, I don't want free consultation here. I would advise people to go ahead and reach out to you on your website or on your social handles. But there is today. But I do want to touch about a few topics. You spoke about diabetes. You spoke about nutrition. But today there are a lot of these new diet fads which have come up, right? There are so many right now in the market. There is keto, there is vegan, there is paleo diet, there is you know Atkins diet, there is military diet, there is GM diet. There is so many diets, right? And a
Yes.
person who's
You just name.
completely nice, yeah. And there are new names every day, right? And
Right.
I've been a personal victim to, not a victim, but I've done all of the diets also. If you name them, I have done it personally. And that's why talking to you today is one of my interests as well. Because I've been a big guy. I have lost 100 pounds. I have gained a little bit back, but uh, today I'm still on a diet. I believe, and I have read myself a lot about nutrition and all of that. But I believe one thing: everybody's body is different. You can't mirror and copy somebody else. Correct me if
Absolutely.
I'm
Yes.
wrong. And what
No,
works
no,
for me
you're
may not
absolutely
work
right.
for you. Yeah.
Correct.
So,
Even
but
even the two brothers or two sisters of same biological parents, they have absolutely different body, their health condition, their anxiety, their stress level, their working environment, their the home environment, everything can be changed. And this is not only about food you eat.
yeah.
How you develop the relationship with that food is more important, I believe. And what I feel is like, do something which is sustainable.
Hmm.
So any diet
Yep.
which you think you cannot stick to for your lifetime is not going to give you a sustainable goal, I mean sustainable result. Yeah, these are the fat diets you're talking about. Yeah, sudden quick loss of, you see a very nice handsome number going down within a very short span of time. But you need to also see whether you are providing correct or the right type of nutrients to your body or not. You certainly will not want that I will lose 20 kilos or 10 kilos or 30 kilos and land up into a condition where my body is showing up certain severely nutrition deficient condition and with some health issues creeping up.
Hmm.
So I will say no to those. Rather, my approach will be, it's okay to lose slowly. Try to adapt to a healthy, overall healthy lifestyle so that you lose gradually, but whatever you lose should be sustainable. And you should not be seeing any post that dietary phase, any nutrition deficiencies coming up and giving you some health issues later on. And it is not only about a disease conditions, and sometimes, if your diet is not healthy, you don't feel mentally very uplifted, you may feel irritated, anger spots, those things are also common if the diet is not wholesome. So you need to understand what you are opting for and how your body is responding towards it. It's not only responses are towards only numbers seeing on the scale. Overall response of your body, whether you start feeling more energetic after following that, do you feel light and better, do you feel more happy, overall mood is improving. So these are some pointers which actually helps you to analyze that yes, your diet is doing good to you, so that's good food for you. And always remember, as you correctly said, no two persons are same. Every individual is unique. So some food which is good for you may not be good or correct for the other person.
Hmm.
Any food, any dietary pattern, any lifestyle you choose, you need to keep observing your body's reaction towards it.
Hmm.
If your responses are coming good, it's absolutely fine for you. Just go ahead with it. But just don't try to copy someone else who got benefited. And although your body is responding in a negative direction, the pointers are all saying you feel bloated, you feel disoriented, you feel like very irritated
Mhm.
or very low in energy, then that's not the correct diet for you. Just stop it.
So how does one understand about their body, right? Because everybody may not have that time, patience to learn how body reacts to food or lifestyle habits. How do people go about learning that from your perspective?
See, first, learning is to give time to your body.
Okay.
So at least provide some time for your meal. I have seen, like, Japanese, they are very smart. If you have ever met somebody or you have ever encountered somebody,
Hmm.
like they first figure out and fix their calendar with their meal times, their lunch and their dinner. And rest of the thing goes throughout the day, they adjust accordingly. And especially when dealing with Indians, I have seen like everything else will be there in the calendar, and the lunch or dinner will be the last thing we fill our calendars with. We here, I really appreciate them. Like they give priority to their meal
Hmm.
because I think somehow they understand or they have realized the importance of food. So when we are running, walking, or driving, or in a meeting, eating, we cannot assimilate that food. There is a connection between our stomach and our mind. I'm 100% sure that that person is not able to connect or establish that connect between your brain and your stomach.
Hmm.
So it is just stuffing your body. So naturally, you will not be able to understand. You don't have time to understand. But the moment you start noticing small, small thing, like if you feel bloated after eating, that's something you cannot miss out.
Hmm.
It's just focusing on yourself. You don't need to sit for that to realize
Okay.
a feeling of heaviness. You're
Hmm.
suddenly getting irritated. Your family, your friends, or your colleagues can also let you know whom you're pally with, that, and you are changing. Suddenly you are getting agitated on small, small things. So these are the small changes which actually indicates that something is wrong with your lifestyle, something is wrong with your food either, or maybe you're not getting enough sleep, or your anxiety, stress levels are getting high.
Very
We
interesting.
also need to understand, it's not only food which gives you weight. It's not only the calorie, which people always start calculating calories. Look, I ate this many calories. I only ate so few calories, but yet the next day my weight is up. Why is it so? So we need to understand that there are a lot of more science behind it rather than just counting the calories. For a female, especially, they're like, if I am anxious, if I don't get sleep on time, my next day my body will be bloated, water retention will be there, and weight is naturally going to go up.
Hmm.
So there are many things we need to understand. It's not only counting calories, eat the correct food, but there's along with it how well your sleep levels, how well you manage your stresses.
Yeah, and between men and women, again, as you rightly said, the body types and the way the body biological structures and the biological dimensions are different, are very different, right? So it's not comparable. It's not like people meaning uh, I don't want to create a differentiation between men and women here, but it's different. The biology itself is very different between the two, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely, it is different, and there is no hiding fact that yes, both body reacts differently. We all know, but like in fact, for females during their periodic cycle, also some female can put on 1 to 2 kilos naturally. That's the water
Mm.
retention, which unfortunately men doesn't go through all these things. So
Yeah.
for them, losing weight becomes much more easier compared to the females. But having said that, some men maybe also. I mean, again, it's not about men specifically, men or women. A person say who's more into stressful job, or who's like a kind of wrong timings, like who's working late hours, and he's or she is awake at night for work and sleeping during days. So those persons compared to whom who are like maintaining a proper biological balance of the timings, the
Hmm.
circadian rhythm, they are following properly, waking up on time and sleeping on time. So these both groups can also show differences in their hormonal balance, in their weight, in their swings. Everything will be different in these two groups.
Yeah, just building on these fads and these thoughts, there's a lot of conversation today about fasting and the
Yeah.
intermittent fasting. Uh, what's your perspective on that? And fasting is a very old tradition, I would say, i- in many of the religions across the board, right? Whether you think about Christianity, whether you think about Islam, or whether you think about Hinduism, every religion or Jainism, everybody has a concept of fasting, but it's only for a certain period in a year, right? Maybe a month, 15, 40 days, whatever that case is. What's your perspective on intermittent fasting?
See, intermittent fasting is good. I am supportive of intermittent fasting, but as I always say, not every style of life is a platter for everyone.
Hmm.
So it is not a time bound diet. Intermittent fasting is a lifestyle.
Okay.
If you are onto it, you adapt it and maintain it as your lifestyle forever. It is really good. But it is not for everybody. Like there are people who really need their food, say after waking up in the morning within 2 hours or 3 hours,
Hmm.
and they feel irritated, they can't live without their food. It's not for them. So if you ask me personally, I can't go for intermittent fasting. I need my first meal within an hour and a half after I'm awake.
Okay.
But those who finds it's fine that they are okay to have that long gap and then start their day with the food, and their body is suiting, their responses are positive, please go ahead, continue with it. It is excellent. But remember, just don't go with the internet saying what is. You need to understand that eating bracket, the eating window of whether it is 8 hours or 10 hours. You need to feed your body very wholesome, well nourished food. Now, in
Hmm.
this window, if you start filling up with wrong food, it's not going to work with you. Idea is to give your body rest for that 14 hours or 16 hours to get the stored energy utilized to flush out the toxins well.
Hmm.
So if you follow that properly and feed your body with the clean food during the window of say 8 or 10 hours, you're absolutely fine. But then as I always keep saying, observe anything new you change with your body, learn to understand your body's response, and then go ahead, then decide and go ahead with it.
Very interesting. Thank you for all that conversation on that nutrition. I would like to switch the gears. As I said, this was not the idea to take free consultation from you, but to kind of dabble a little bit on certain things. And I'm sure the listeners would be happy to hear some of those thoughts which you have shared today. But let's talk a little bit about you today, and focus on that. So, being a designer, a web designer, to being a teacher, and I would love to double click a little bit on the teaching aspect. You were in Vietnam. uh, English may not be the first language there. Uh, how did you cope up? And you were teaching maths and science, which is not easy to teach, also. So how did that all about go all about in that phase?
Okay, the teaching actually did not started in Vietnam. When I was in
Okay,
Gurgaon, the children were
okay,
young, then I
okay.
started giving home tuitions.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Yeah. So because it was a new place, and from being a Calcuttan, uh, not very sure, have heard so many stories of NCR, Delhi, Gurgaon, not very safe place. So I was like reluctant of leaving home and going away from home, leaving children, young kids behind. So I started teaching there.
okay,
So initially started with a student, and then that he was really started showing good results, and then that started building up. And so teaching basically started from Gurgaon. That was a
okay,
home tuitions, and I started with mathematics because that was my first pillar. So that was one. Having said about Vietnam, the English, yes, English was poor then. It was difficult. So I mentioned that it was an international school, Australian international school, high school college. So English was pretty decent because it was not for they already had a filtered mechanism. Those students who were really fluent in English were only enrolled in it.
okay.
So I was teaching from their high schoolers, like 9 to 12
Hmm.
grades.
Okay.
So that was pretty okay. But then, as you said, yeah, the level of English was not that great. So we have to really go down, slow down while we were speaking. And then after teaching a couple of months, I also got used to of it. So we also learn and develop.
Yeah.
So that was also a learning.
So how does teaching or that experience in teaching really help in your nutrition career now? Uh, and because you're almost teaching people how to live their life from a
Right.
food.
So
So how does that relate to? But you're teaching grown-ups,
there's a
not
fine
children anymore.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fine relationship. When you are teaching, you develop your patience level. You develop your listening skills, you know, while dealing with children in and out. And they were like kind of young adults. I was dealing with grade 9 to 12th graders, and then followed by parent teacher meetings and all. Kind of you start learning to become a good listener. And you start learning others behavior, try to understand their background from where they are coming in. And maybe this was a little plus, or I don't know what it was. I always had a perception, like my approach was like, whenever I'm speaking to somebody, I try to understand whatever the someone is speaking about, his or her mindset, where they are coming from. That helps you kind of to understand their perspective better. So this was approach from in a long time. And then uh, while in our study also, when I did this clinical dietetics and nutrition, there's a psychological part. Psychology is also been taught, which is very important to understand the client's perspective, the patient's perspective.
Okay.
So that's a human connect. You learn to develop more.
Hmm.
So that really helped. And I think the listening skill was the best. I mean, I was a poor listener in my young days, childhood days. And my husband always keeps saying, remember when you got married? You're
Hmm.
such a poor listener. And now you have loads of patience. You're listening day in and out to everybody, and with peace, calmness, relax. And then you actually advise them peacefully.
Okay.
So your attitude actually it's been transmitted to them. If I am peaceful listener, calmly I'm listening to them, they also kind of feel to establish a good connect, that yeah, this person is listening to us.
Hmm.
And then I try to counsel them. Yes, teaching absolutely helps you.
Hmm.
For me, it was like best was listening skills and developing the patience,
Hmm.
not losing my temperament, taking things nicely, politely, trying to understand their thing, which actually helps you, irrespective of the age group you are dealing with.
Hmm.
End of the day, we are human,
Yep.
so it works with everybody. So I feel that helps somewhere. Any
Sure.
learning never goes waste.
Sure. Sure. So, talking about learning, and now, the last 5 months have been very interesting. People cannot believe it's already August for 2020. But, uh, and I see a very beautiful website you have. It's an amazing website, by the way. And how has technology really, I want to really see how you're leveraging technology today. And I see you being very active on social media platforms. You're posting and you're getting a lot of reach from audience perspective. So how is technology really helping your career today?
See, no doubt technology has helped people in various ways. In our field, like in my field, I would suggest it has made the world very close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Reaching out to people is no more that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And last 4 5 months lockdown has also made people realize that technology has made their life easier. My idea of working with nutrition field was always like, apart from the business work or your professionals you're doing, to serve the society as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's our responsibility for whatever bits and pieces you can serve.
Mm-hmm.
So, which was always the idea. Prior to COVID, also, I used to travel to different parts of the cities and the country, and I used to give those seminars and free talks, paid talks plus free talks, as and where it is needed.
Mm-hmm.
like underprivileged group or for the social element, like wherever it is needed on whatever subject it was related to food or the health. But after COVID, since the travel was off, so then again the technology helped. The Zoom webinars, Facebook Live, Insta Live, this actually helped me. I've been doing a lot of live sessions for the awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time, this health element builds up over a gradual period of time. There are
Very
small
interesting.
mistakes we doing without having the knowledge of what we are heading into, just ignoring
Mm.
certain elements of health. So I keep doing this live sessions for close groups, like I keep doing the Zoom sessions so that I can address their questions, answers properly, and for to address the bigger mass. Like Facebook Live is quite often. If you go and see my page, you will see last 4 months there have been various live sessions I've been doing over different platforms.
Mm.
The idea is just to raise the word of awareness. If
Mm.
if suppose, for example, if 100 people are listening to you, if two out of them are also able to use it,
Mm-hmm.
I think my job is done for that
Mm.
part. So that's one of the reason I feel like yes, technology is helping.
Very interesting. So, you spoke about your child be your daughter being born. Correct me, daughter being born in 2001, if I remember the dates and the year right.
You are
Uh,
absolutely.
yes. I'm trying to develop my own listening skills as we go through this conversation. So, uh, how has, you know, having a child and being a mother to the child, and having these variety of careers as well as moving locations. You said that you moved 7 cities and 4 countries. How how have you been able to manage that? A career, family, and if I know a little bit more about you, you have a large family. It's not a nuclear family. So how has that really worked out for you?
See, initially, as I said, it was a bit of challenge balancing both and taking care of the children and taking care of the work field as well. But as I said, if your partner is supportive and the family support is there, things become easy.
Okay.
So, family was really supportive when I was studying. I remember when there were days when I used to give up. Oh, this is not my platter. And there are so many things being messed up at home. I should not be involving so much time, so and so. But yes, children also become very supportive. They understood the demand of that time. And as I said, my husband was super supportive. So he took a lot of responsibilities, and then so that I can spend my time with my education and all. And then post that, when I started working again, the time was a little here and there. And then uh, as I said, whatever time we get with the family, it's not
Mm.
about the quantity. uh, you usually focus on the quality time, it's not
Yep.
about number of hours you're spending, but the quality time. Like with children, I focus more on exercising together, so I can get to learn some new exercises from them. They also can focus, lady, you should do this, mama, you should focus this is better way of burning out more, getting more results in short span of time. Or we do cooking sometime together,
Nice.
or play games, some indoor games, outdoor games. And during this last 5 months, have given excellent time together. We go for walks, running out together. So I believe it's not the quantity; it's more about the quality time you spend. That's good enough.
Mm.
So kind of work is there. It will continue, and it is growing, and hopefully it should continue growing better.
Yep.
But yeah, what time you get with your family, try to spend it in a nicer manner. So they are happy, and I'm happy too.
Sure. And having a variety of career within your own professional life, have you had a moment which you cherish till date, based on your years of experience?
Yeah, if I recall, I felt happiest after one of my seminars, the talks which I give for community. It was for elderly population, And after the talk, a lady who was probably my mom's age
Mm-hmm.
or maybe a little older, she just came and hugged me. and tears were actually running on her face. And I was like surprised why she's doing this, but she said, "Thank you so much for explaining us so nicely. Our own children have no time for us to explain so much in detail, and you took this much time and effort, and you explained all the questions so nicely." And she said, "God bless you, beta. You are so..." Those things are so emotional,
Hmm.
that then you feel like, yeah, you've been able to connect.
Hmm.
Apart from all the professional challenges and seeing the client's improvement, their medical reports reversing, and those are happy moment too. But this was something very emotional, so I still recall this is one of the best moment.
Very
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, these moments make really touch your heart. I think that's what really makes a big difference in these
and then
moments.
suddenly you realize, no, it's you are on the right track.
Hmm.
That gives you immense happiness inside, so you feel, yeah, you are good, doing good, continue. So that motivates me also. That's one of the reason after the lockdown, when I
Mm-hmm.
was unable to reach out to the community like that. So then I started this live sessions, and yeah, it's working.
Great, great. Talking a little bit about going back to nutrition, and I see one subject which is very close to your heart is about health and wellness for women. Uh, what do you see as biggest concerns within that area personally, and what are you focusing on that area?
I feel, for the women, lot of uh, shyness is still there, especially talking about Indian women.
Hmm.
I'm not talking about the Indian women who are living abroad or in an urban society, also those who are working independent women. But even in independent women also have seen that. I mean, they don't open up too much about their health issues. Hardly they have knowledge about what the woman goes through during the menopausal phase,
Hmm.
which is loads of ups and downs, and every woman experiences something new or something different.
Hmm.
Just they might have heard from others some bit of it, but since it's a new thing to every woman, we need to go through it, and everyone is having their own individual experiences. So
Okay.
that's one is the menopause, and the second is periodic discomfort.
Hmm.
Sometimes, we don't talk, not sometime, it's most of the time we don't talk
Yes.
about periods that comfort, not even
Yes.
inside the family. And there are certain rules, regulation, the orthodox families, there's certain things from old times. It's like certain communities still in India. Like I'm from a Marwadi family.
Hmm.
So where family rules are like, during the periods, you are not allowed to enter the kitchen. There's no sense in today's world.
Wow.
You feel like
Okay.
secluded, you are not supposed to enter this, you are not supposed to do puja. I understand that. But I feel like where we are living now,
Hmm.
if I'm allowed to work, go out, join my work, do my whole days, run through, do this, that, all these chores, why not cooking? Why not puja?
Hmm.
This is a human biological system which nature has given. It's the same God. If we believe in God, Bhagwan, if the God has created us, so He well knows. He knows very well what the structure is and what the process is all about. So why we are restricting as like a human thing we have created knows, and yes. So these are certain things. The girls I still see, they are not very open to talk about their issues during periods, while they may be having heavy discharge, they may be going through a lot of nutrient deficiency, especially iron deficiency is so common. If they don't understand what is happening, if they don't speak with somebody, I mean, sometime often when I consult with clients, I ask them, they said, "Oh, I thought this is normal."
Hmm.
Unless you speak about it, how will you understand what is normal? So there are
Hmm.
things which we need to open up as females. We need to come up. Like we need. It's high time we need to break these barriers. Talk about our health.
Hmm.
Post menopause, people just talk about, like, even I see the so-called educated society also, the women, they come to me discuss about more about weight loss during menopausal side, because they feel that is something which is changing their body, and they're not very comfortable with how they look, but they're
Hmm.
hardly concerned of what are the post effect of menopause if they don't lose weight or they don't learn to eat clean or to understand their body what they're going through. because that's a time when the women body is transforming. There are hormonal changes which are occurring,
Yep.
and this can actually impose permanent changes in their body and can lead to heart health issues, can lead to diabetes, and many more, which they are not aware of. So these are the things we need to spread awareness. At least they should know. So,
Yep.
and diabetes is something why I keep on talking about diabetes now, here, often, here and then, because I see this is something a lot of unawareness.
Yep.
Diabetes is there in almost every second household. People don't take it as a disease or a serious matter of concern. Popping pill as if is a solution. Why don't we
And
take
people don't
approach?
even know. People don't even know the different types of diabetes. They think, okay, diabetes is just one type of diabetes. Actually, it isn't.
Even after knowing, that's one thing. Yes, correct. Type 1 is very rarely been aware by people unless they have experienced or somebody has experienced in their family.
Yep.
But then even after knowing, they think that it's okay, it's a disease, okay, I will pop in some pill and then it is controlled.
Hmm.
But why not to understand it's not a disease, it's a lifestyle disorder. It's a gift of your irregular lifestyle.
Yep.
Why don't you want to reverse it so that the way it came, you can reverse back?
Yep.
So
And it's
these are
almost,
some
to
to
your point,
understand.
it's almost like a termite which you're breeding in your own body. And once that termite
Absolutely.
comes in, it's very hard and it eats your body up. Then it's very difficult to. And I've seen family members. Personally, I've lost my dad to diabetes, uh, and I know what impact it has. And because of that, I personally started focusing a lot on my health habits because people say diabetes is hereditary. Actually, it is not. It is lifestyle, uh, and it's a hereditary lifestyle which you imbibe. It's not a hereditary disease which you imbibe on, which is again a big misconception. You can correct me if I'm wrong when
Yeah.
I'm saying that.
See, heredity is correct. I will not say that heredity does not play a role. But as you said, lifestyle. Now, if suppose your dad, your mom, or anybody like your grandparent were diabetic or are diabetic, you have you have been exposed to it genetically.
Yeah.
Now, it is your lifestyle which is going to decide whether you will get diabetes in your 40s or in your 80s.
Hmm.
That's up to you.
Yeah.
You are going to get diabetes, no doubt about it. But
Hmm.
at which stage of your life, it's up to your lifestyle.
Yep.
That's on us.
Yes. Cool. Thank you. I think this was a very. I could see that emotion, power, and I could hear it. It all came out right now when I touched that topic and I touched that nerve. Or I always say that I touched on the tail of the serpent. But and I see that passion of nutrition really coming out from you. And let's say if somebody wants to build a career in nutrition, what will be your advice be to them?
Go with it, what your heart says. Just
Okay.
don't follow that I want to be there. If somebody has done good, just to follow in terms of only money. If your heart is with nutrition, if you really want to work for nutrition, just go with it. Something, and why only nutrition? Any field, I personally believe, like if you are working with your heart, you will excel, no matter which field it is. It is no more like the old days, like there are only three field you need to choose, either doctor, lawyer, or engineer. There are
Yep.
so many fields.
Yep. Great. I think this conversation has been far enriching. It doesn't makes me hungry more. Definitely, it makes me focus on my diet more. So thank you for taking time out from your busy schedule. Really appreciate you driving this, and I'll, through this podcast, I'll definitely share links to your website, to your social handles, so that people, if they have any questions or if they have any thoughts, they will definitely reach out to you.
Thank you so much. The idea is to spread the word of awareness, and more than happy if anybody reaches out for whatever reasons, just for the sake of inquiry and knowing something. I am more than happy.
And your foodandwellness.com website has a lot of good information, and I would highly advise people to do that as well. Great, Menu. Thank you for taking time out. It was lovely speaking to you, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anish. Looking forward to it.
Thank you for listening in. And we close yet another episode of Masters Decoded. If you've enjoyed the episode, please you can help us out by sharing it on social media. I would personally appreciate that. It's how we can reach more listeners And the more listeners we have, the more awesome guests I can get in touch and convince to participate in these conversations that are a joy to have for me, and I hope they are a joy for you to listen as well. You can also help a lot leaving reviews on iTunes or your podcast service of choice. Reviews are surprisingly helpful in supporting the podcast to get to more listeners. If this episode has intrigued you, I would request you to subscribe to the podcast to stay up to date and get notified to the future episodes. With that, I bid you and see you in the next episode.